Good afternoon, class. I'm Professor Delk. My name is Mary-Margaret, as you know, and I'm going to be presenting my case study for urban and regional planning on Don't Take My Property. So a little bit of history about the case study. The city in question is downtown Wilderberry, and it is in the Midwest, and during the mid-20th century was thriving, full of residents, local businesses, doing really well. It had a lively downtown culture. However, by the 1980s, it did suffer from economic development due to shopping malls. So those drove businesses out, ultimately drove employees out and residents, everything that makes a small town successful. So the downtown became vacant and deteriorated. So much so that by 2000, the city council hired a consultant to reinvest in the city, and they started focusing on programs to bolster economic development and attract new businesses. Recently, a new developer named Len Byer came downtown, started a redevelopment project called the Downtown Gateway, and has been buying up lots and turning them over and truly revitalizing downtown Wilderberry. The only thing is that part of his project, to complete it, he needs one final property. It's kind of an eyesore in the middle of downtown. It used to be a hardware store. The family that owns it hasn't used that lot. The hardware store has been closed for 25 years and refuses to sell to Len Byer, the developer, because of saying it's not fair market value, even though he's been offered 5% over fair market value, and is kind of against the whole project because it's been in the families for so long. The Downtown Improvement Association, however, endorsed Len Byer's Downtown Gateway project and the use of eminent domain. However, the property owner feels that his property is being stolen, hence the name of the case study, Don't Take My Property. So that's the background. The issue is, should the city of Wilderberry approve the use of eminent domain to move the Downtown Gateway project forward? Should they use it or should they not? That is the issue at hand in front of the city council, and also for the planning department on what recommendation they're going to make, whether or not the city council should use eminent domain or not. So some relevant case law that I have here is Berman v. Parker, is a Supreme Court case dating back to 1954. Essentially, this kind of was the catalyst for a lot of eminent domain legislation. It approved the use of private property for a public purpose. So this one set the stage for Kelo versus the City of New London in 2005, which is probably the more significant case law on eminent domain, and was passed specifically giving property from one private landowner to another. So that's what made this case very controversial, but it also made about half of the states adopt eminent domain legislation as a result after the Supreme Court case was approved and went through and held up. The role of politics in this case is very significant because it's a very controversial topic. Eminent domain is not something many people stand behind, residents or business owners. It's controversial for the elected officials, for the planning department. Everyone feels that kind of pressure to fight for their rights or do what's best for the public, depending on what side you stand on. Everyone has a strong opinion. Property rights activists take this issue very, very personally. Property is a personal thing. You own this property, it's yours, and you feel, it's a part of you almost. And for them, it's, very concerning that the government can take property that they purchased and use it for something such as giving it to another developer. And then, of course, the reputation is always a factor in almost any planning decision, but for the planning department or for the city council, for them to approve this, they, have to consider things like, does this set a precedent for eminent domain use in the city of Wildeberry? And also the elected officials always have to consider their electability. And if they approve something like this, how does that impact it in the future, in the next campaign? So here we have our stakeholders and their perspectives. Just to list a few, the hardware store property owner, feels their property is being unfairly taken, but will sell for the right price. However, most of the developers and people say that it's been given fair market value. Land buyer development company, the one that is wanting to do the work, the project, wants the 6 parcel to finish his project and just wants to be able to help Wildeberry the best he can, but needs that last piece to complete. Wildeberry residents would benefit from new businesses. So the parcel that is needed would be like several different new developments. It wouldn't be just one store. It would be mixed use. And so they would benefit from maybe, if a bowling alley or, another cool store or restaurant was added to their space. The Downtown Improvement Association, they endorse the project, so of course they are behind this all the way. They think that it'll is worth it and will assist Wildeberry in its goals of economic development and retaining and attracting new businesses. And Wildeberry City Council, they want the project to move forward. They're excited about the new possibilities with the project. However, they are worried about, like I said, re-electability, and worried about backlash from property rights activists in that regard. And downtown shop owners. The revitalization project does add value to the entire area, and so they would benefit from an overall property value increase from new businesses coming to the area, and they would, of course, support that over another building that was dilapidated and didn't fit the rest of the upcoming scene in Wildeberry. So comprehensive plan. We modeled our entire case study off of the comprehensive plan of City of Union, Missouri. So after reviewing their comprehensive plan, we noticed that many of the goals and objectives were aligned with Wildeberry. The City of Union also fits the same kind of description. It was a small downtown Midwest city that suffered economic losses in the 1980s, 1970s, and was looking to really focus on downtown revitalization. And they do have similar goals, such as utility improvements, streetscape improvements, and mixed-use building developments. One of the primary goals and objectives that we outlined that said, this is for sure why we're choosing this comprehensive plan, is reinvest in infrastructure improvements such as gathering spaces, public restrooms, and utility upgrades, retain businesses, generate commercial and entertainment opportunities, and create vitality that attracts people. So everything about that statement fits back with our case study on the downtown Wildeberry. So after reviewing all of the facts of the case, the relevant case law, both sides, the role of politics, everything considered, all of the stakeholders in that, it is the planning department's recommendation that the city council moves to adopt the use of eminent domain to move forward with the Gateway project. It will advance the city goals of promoting investment, retaining and attracting businesses, and creating a thriving downtown that is outlined in Wildeberry's comprehensive plan and will ultimately best serve their residents and visitors. Thank you very much.